Eric Trump says a lot of really dumb things. This is his newest one. Apparently, during an interview with Candace Owens at the Daily Wire, Trump was asked to name somebody he would like to have dinner with. This was his response.
You can have dinner with anybody dead or alive. You can't say Trump. You can't, well, you are Trump, but you can't say your father. You've already had dinner with him. Plenty of times.
Well, how about Jesus?
Jesus, that's a good answer.
That'd be a good one, right?
What would you ask him?
Oh, God. Did you envision this happening to the United States of America? And did you ever envision a person as incompetent as Joe Biden running the United States of America? How in the world did this happen? Honestly, I might ask him if this is actually a ploy to show people the difference between Republican leadership and Democratic leadership. Like, sometimes I think about that.
Sometimes I think about that. Honestly, the biggest shocker here is not who you'd have dinner with, but the fact that Eric Trump has actual thoughts. I also am very, very amused at Candace Owens saying, I mean, you could have dinner with anybody, living or dead, except for Donald Trump. But are you saying that Eric Trump doesn't ever have dinner with his dad? It's his dad. That's amazing. I don't know. That seems really like a really strange thing to bring up. Very, very odd. But okay. So now, first, before I get into the dunking, let me just get into substance here. And it's actually going to be a criticism of Joe Biden, weirdly enough, right? Here's the thing. I think there's a lot of people right now that can't tell the difference between Democratic and Republican leadership. And this is a common criticism that I have in my show. Democratic leadership is just feckless. It's disastrous. It never really serves the interests of the working class. None of them really do anything for regular people, Democrats or Republicans. Now, of course, Republicans 100% serve the donors. Once again, Democrats also serve the donors. The only difference seems to be here in a lot of the a lot of the culture war issues, and maybe he's got a couple of the economic issues, right? But as far as benefiting regular working people, the Biden administration hasn't really done a whole lot. And of course, yes, you can go and blame some of the procedural stuff, like, oh, but wait a minute, that procedural stuff, filibuster, the legislative filibuster, well, he didn't lean on Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema hard enough, or on other members of his party. I think that's a substantive criticism. I think it's a fair criticism. Not only that, but you also had some situations where you had somebody who is an unelected, essentially an advisor, telling the Democratic Party, you can't do this. Well, how about I remove you and put someone who can do this? The parliamentarian. So again, all of those are roadblocks of their own making, generally, when it comes to Democrats and actually governing. I mean, okay, anyway. And as far as other policy positions that were popular, remember the child tax credit? Well, that's gone. That was supposed to be in Build Back Better. They stripped it out, and they're still not going to get Build Back Better. Disastrous. The changes in prescription drugs. What changes? You don't have mass student loan cancellation. Yes, just today, I believe he canceled $415 million out of the over $1.8 trillion in outstanding student loan debt. So, I mean, sure, you're going to cancel a tiny less than 1% of all student loan debt. I don't think that's really going to fly with the majority of the American people, because they're not seeing that relief. But now, as far as other, I should say, similarities, Biden is using Trump's immigration policies. Vox reported last month that the Department of Justice is still fighting in federal court for border restrictions that have barred most asylum seekers for entering the U.S. In separate federal cases, it's also argued that the policy of separating migrant families under former President Donald Trump, the family separation policy that had a lot of liberals outraged. I was also outraged. the Biden administration is saying, oh, no, that's totally fine. And they have also fought against paying those families in restitution. The Biden administration has also supported Donald Trump's Title 42 policy that keeps migrants out of the U.S. for reasons like COVID, right? Health reasons. So I don't think there's a ton of change here. Now, I'm not saying that everything that Biden has done is bad, and I'm certainly not saying Republicans good. So you're never going to hear me really say anything about that on this show unless Republicans actually do something that's good. There's no chance of that. Very, very, very slim chance. But I'm saying that what Joe Biden has done is he has honored the only promise that actually mattered that he made during the campaign. And that was to his donors that nothing would fundamentally change. Inflation's up, corporate profits are also up, big surprise, but the pay hasn't gone up, and nothing, again, has fundamentally changed. And so the big difference here that I see between generally Biden and Trump, or Republicans and Democrats right now, is that you have the open corruption by Republicans. Now, Trump also hates democracy. He's a fascist. The right wing pushes the country towards fascism, and the far right. Now, the problem with the Democrats is that they just go with the status quo. When the Overton window moves to the right, the Democrats chase them. They don't go back to the left. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to, things like testing, for example, the COVID tests, the Biden administration had to be shamed into actually sending out free COVID tests to every American. That is the bare minimum that we should have during a pandemic. Providing free test kits for every American. Yes, that is a very low bar. And it took Jen Psaki being shamed by a reporter in order to embarrass them into actually doing that. And then, of course, there was the pushback against resuming student loans. And now loans have been pushed back, but they're still due. And so, I mean, there is real substantive criticism of the Biden administration and of the system in general that has unfortunately kept things the status quo. That has not been good for American workers. That has not been good for regular people. So I don't know what the hell Eric is talking about. Because there's not a lot of difference. But back to Eric. Jesus were here, you'd slap him. Absolutely. I mean, the Trumps are the money changers in the temple. You know that story. I seem to recall Jesus coming into the temple with a whip and whipping the bankers and overturning tables. Do you know who would be the money changers in the temple? The Trump family. That's what they would be. In fact, it appears that if you actually knew anything about Jesus in the Bible, well, you would know that he has a problem with the super rich. In fact, in Matthew 19:24, he said this, quote, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'Truly I tell you, it is hard for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven.'" I think they were, there's more to that. "Again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God." Who do you think they were talking about? Rich men. The Trumps. I mean, again, that's definitely who you could say that they were talking about, because they would fit the bill. It really is amazing. Now, speaking of Donald Trump himself, the guy knows literally nothing about the Bible. In fact, I put together just a tiny little compilation of some of Trump's famous Bible fails.
Okay. You mentioned the Bible. You've been talking about how it's your favorite book. And you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what one or two of your most favorite Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it.
2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 3:17. That's the whole ball game.
Because to me, that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal. So I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
It is so true. You know, when you think, and that's really, is that the one? Is that the one you like? I think that's the one you like because I loved it.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible. The whole Bible is an incredible.
The whole thing. What's my favorite part? I like them all. I like the both Testament. It's very good. Very, very personal to me. And I don't want to. It's the whole ball game. It's the whole ball game. Yes, that profound knowledge of the Bible. That guy, nobody knows the Bible like Donald Trump. Let me tell you, the Bible, very tremendous. You think that guy, that family, knows religion at all? No, not at all. So I'm going to make a guess here that Eric also, like his father, knows absolutely nothing about religion, nothing about actual Christianity, and is just basically making things up. Again, he would have dinner with Jesus so he could complain about Biden. Okay, sure. Once again, the rotten apple does not fall far from the Trump tree.